Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott McGregor. Thank you so much for joining us. On today's program, Season 5 of Sports for Beginners continues. And on this episode, it's a post-game show edition of the program, but it's an abbreviated post-game show. Welcome to another installment of Sports for Beginners, Season 5. This week's episode, Sports for Beginners Spring Training, mixed with a little WBC action. Let's get started. I'm Scott McGregor. Let's get this show on the road. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful world of ours. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. Welcome to episode 2 of Sports for Beginners Season 5. We are calling it Sports for Beginners Spring Training. And on this edition of Sports for Beginners Spring Training, which is our second episode of season number 5, we're talking WBC and spring training thus far. Originally, our plan was to talk about the WBC warm-up game for Canada against the Toronto Blue Jays, which the Blue Jays ended up winning that game. But a lot has gone on since then. So, folks, instead of that, we are going to talk about the WBC a little later in our show. But leading off our program, we are going to be talking Blue Jays through spring training, all the way to where they currently are at spring training, and basically leading up to their Canada game. Speaking of Canada, we'll talk about Canada's World Baseball Classic thus far, including their 2 warm-up games, which were against the Toronto Blue Jays and the Philadelphia Phillies. No breakdowns of the games happening on this one, but we will highlight a few players that have stood out as the Blue Jays enter the final moments of spring training 2020. And of course, we'll highlight where the Blue Jays sit in the standings a little bit later, near our end of the show, what we would call on a season episode last call. And we'll also touch on the WBC standings, as well as what program is coming up on Sports for Beginners following this episode. So be sure to stick with us. With that said, let's get right down to business. Leading things off with the Blue Jays spring training thus far up to today, Sunday, March the 8th, 2026, where the Toronto Blue Jays are gearing up for afternoon split squad action one last time. They will be playing the Baltimore Orioles at 1:05 p.m. Eastern today, and the Detroit Tigers at 1:07 p.m. as well. So just 2 minutes after the Orioles game gets started, barring rain and things of that nature, the Tigers and the Blue Jays will take the field. Let's go back to February and run down the February schedule leading up to Sunday, March the 1st, 2026. The Blue Jays started spring training off with a shutout win over the Philadelphia Phillies, 3-0. They then lost 11-10 to the Boston Red Sox. And unfortunately, they also picked up 2 more losses before tying with the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 by a final score of 4-4. Losing to the New York Mets the 2 days before that, 4-3 on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. And the New York Yankees 8-7 on Tuesday, February 24th. The Blue Jays also lost to Miami 8-7, and 6-5 to the Tampa Bay Rays before their first split squad action of spring training 2026, which was a 5-1 loss to the New York Yankees on the final day of February 2026. We have a 5-1 loss to the New York Yankees in split squad action on February 28th. The Blue Jays picked up a 7-5 win over the Philadelphia Phillies on that same day. So you got a win and a loss. We'll take it. Blue Jays tie with the Tigers on March 1st, 2026 by the same score as February 25th, 2026, or 4. They lost 7-6 to the Boston Red Sox on March 2nd. Beat Canada in Canada's warm-up game against the Jays 10-7. Most recently, they lost to the Atlanta Braves 9-5. Beat Philadelphia 1-0 on Saturday, yesterday, 1-0. And they also beat Pittsburgh 9-2, heading into their matchup today, heading into their 2 matchups, I should say, today, against the Baltimore Orioles, who are 7-6 right now on the spring. Blue Jays 4-8. They also face off against the 3-7 Detroit Tigers. On the mound for the Detroit Tigers, left-hander number 64, Brian Salmons. Brian Salmons is on the mound for the Tigers here. He'll face right-handed pitcher number 34, Kevin Gausman. In the Detroit game, Cody Potts will take on Tyler Wells, who will get the ball for the Orioles in that game, scheduled to start at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. As we speak with you, the Blue Jays, as we mentioned, are 4-8 on the spring. After the split squad game wraps up, we'll know where they sit heading into Monday's action. But here's where we sit as we've gone over the standings and gone over the final scores of Blue Jays baseball so far. Right now in the grapefruit standings in spring training, the top dogs in the league are the Atlanta Braves at 10-2. The New York Yankees at 10-4. Pittsburgh Pirates at 10-5. And going down the list, we got the Washington Nationals at 7-4. St. Louis Cardinals at 8-5. New York Mets at 6-5. Philadelphia Phillies at 5-8. 6-7 are the Miami Marlins. Boston is 7-7. Baltimore 7-6, as we mentioned. Houston 4-7. Blue Jays, as we mentioned, 4-8. Tampa Bay 5-10. Detroit 3-7. Minnesota at the bottom of the barrel. The Twins, that is. They're at the bottom of the barrel at a record of 3-10. Over in the Cactus League, the bottom of the barrel are the Seattle Mariners and the Athletics, both teams at 4-10. The Los Angeles Angels continuing that bottom of the barrel at 6-10. Kansas City Royals 6-7. Moving up the ladder now, we have San Diego at 7-8. Chicago Cubs also 7-8. Arizona Diamondbacks also 7-8. Cincinnati Reds 6-6. 7-7 are the Milwaukee Brewers. At 8-8 are the Cleveland Guardians. Texas Rangers 8-7. 9-7 are the Chicago White Sox. 8-6 Colorado Rockies. Back-to-back defending World Series champion LA Dodgers 10-5. And the San Francisco Giants are 12-2. Some of those top dogs in the Grapefruit and Cactus League. Interesting. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, who has stood out for the Blue Jays so far this spring? Plus, Canada at the Classic, at the World Baseball Classic. How did they fare in their second warm-up game? How have they fared in their first game of the WBC? Who else do they play later in the WBC, including tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern? Find out after this short break as Sports for Beginners Season 5, titled Sports for Beginners Spring Training, WBC and Spring Training thus far, continues. Episode 2 of Season 5 is on the air, and it continues in just a few short moments. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Have you ever wondered about the books we've been reading throughout the week?
Are you looking for friendly banter and technology tips at the same time?
Then you've come to the right place.
Check out The Ali and McCara Show. It airs live on Sunday afternoons at 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
Until spring. In the spring, we'll switch back to Mondays.
To learn more about the show, please visit thealiandmccarashow.ca.
While you're there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. And besides, it's free.
Enter your email address and hit subscribe.
The Ali and McCara Show is part of the Musa Slobodian Network, where good conversations happen.
To learn more about the network, please visit themusaslobodiannetwork.ca.
Enter your email and hit subscribe so you never miss network updates.
Cianity Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Hey Allie, did you know we have a books panel?
I did not know that. When is it?
It takes place on the last Friday of each month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern,
Where we have fun and engaging conversations.
about a book that one of the panelists picks.
So, how can I learn more about the show?
To learn more, please visit bookspanel.ca. While you're there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. Besides, it's free. Enter your email and hit subscribe.
The Books Panel is part of the Musa Slobodian Network, where good conversations happen.
To learn more about the network, please visit themusaslobodiannetwork.ca. While you're over there, hit subscribe so you never miss a network update. Enter your email and hit subscribe.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
All right, thank you very much, Allie. Thank you very much, Nick. And thank you very much, Makara, for those beautiful words from your station. Catch Ali on the Ali Musa show. And Ali had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to him. Hopefully he had a great day. Sorry, it was actually the day before the day. It was on March the 6th. That was Ali's birthday, my bad. So hopefully he had a good day on Friday. Saturday was my good friend Christian Caetano's birthday. Got a birthday wish out to him as well. So happy birthday to him. Happy birthday, boys. And of course, a lot has gone on as of late. We also had the trade deadline on Friday as well. Interesting how it falls on Ali's birthday. But we shall see. Time now to continue our baseball conversation, but first and foremost, my name is Scott. I am the host of Sports for Beginners, the podcast, also the founder of Sports for Beginners, the podcast as well. So thank you so much to our listeners for joining in, and those who are joining in and catching up with us on as much of the content as we can get to. Haven't shared our screen yet, but we will share that for the WBC scoreboard coming up momentarily. Speaking of the WBC, I'm looking right now on the MLB app at the other game the Team Canada had played at the WBC before the actual WBC began. And they had one more warm-up game that they played, which was on day one of the WBC, March 4th. That was against the Philadelphia Phillies. Canada won that game 5-3 after dropping 10-7 to the Toronto Blue Jays. Since then, they have begun play. And so far at home in the World Baseball Classic are 1-0. They beat Colombia 8-2 on the strength of 8 hits, 8 runs, and only 1 error. Owen Casey had a 2-run home run. Winning pitcher for Canada goes to Michael Soroka. His record 1-0. Enner comes out of the game with an ERA 3. The loss to Colombia's Austin Bergener Austin Bergener, his record 0-1, ERA of 9 coming out of the contest. All right, top performers before we jump to the upcoming schedule for Canada. In this game, we had Abraham Toro of the Kansas City Royals, who went 2 for 3. Owen Casey, as I mentioned, he went 2 for 4. He is the Miami Marlin prospect from Canada. And also from Canada, the 3 top performers are Canadians. And the 3rd top performer was Noah Skidrow, who went 3 innings, gave up 1 hit, and struck out 2 Columbia batters. No earned runs, despite giving up 1 hit. For Columbia, they had 2 runs on 6 hits, no home runs, 1 home run off the bat of Owen Casey, despite Canada having 8 hits and 8 runs. Canada had 14 total bases, 1 stolen base. They left 8 men on base, and of course, as I mentioned, 1 error. Columbia with 6 men left on base, 2 errors, 1 stolen base, and aside from home runs, which they didn't have any in the game, they left 6 men on base and 8 total bases in this baseball game. To say Canada overpowered Colombia, I would say that would be an understatement. But it is what it is. Okay, folks, we are just about almost 20 minutes into our show. So we're going to go ahead and take another timeout. Before we take this next timeout, we seem to be experiencing a technical issue here. But let's see if that withstands. That's why we haven't really shared our screen. There we go. We haven't really shared our screen. Yeah, we are about 20 minutes in. So before we take the break, up next for Team Canada, tonight they take on Panama. Then Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon, they will take on Cuba at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, they will take on Puerto Rico. And tonight, they will go one-on-one with Team Panama. One quick look before we go to break, as this show winds down, at our starting pitchers. On the mound for Team Panama, right-handed pitcher number 51. 51 of Team Panama, number 51, Jamie Barria. Jamie Barria is going to get the start for Team Panama. Of the Cleveland Guardians, And from the Chicago Cubs, getting the start for Canada, right-hander number 50, Jameson Taillon, is going to get the start for Canada. Be interesting to see what the lineups look like for Panama and Canada, but I'm sure we'll know what those lineups are closer to first pitch. Again, that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. On Wednesday, March 2026, with just one game on the ledger. So spring training comes to an end on March the 24th. And then it's time for action Wednesday, March 25th. But the Blue Jays action doesn't get going until Friday night, March 27th. All right, folks, we are 23 minutes into our show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, who has stood out for Canada? Who has standed out for the Blue Jays so far? And what does the Blue Jays schedule look like outside of their split squad action, which happens today? Plus, in last call, where does the World Baseball Classic standing stand? MLB app for the standings. And for those who are visually impaired, I will make sure to let you know who is sitting where, in which standings. Last call coming up in just 2 segments' time. But coming up after the break, where do the Blue Jays go from their split squad action? Plus, who has standed out so far in spring training? And we'll give you a look at the today's scoreboard. In particular, we'll give you a look at the World Baseball Classic schedule. Already one game in the books. Find out what the final score of that game was in the World Baseball Classic when we continue.
Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Have you ever wanted a talk show that discusses news, politics, the show's favorite sports teams, as well as sports media and broadcasting? Check out The Ali Musa Show, where we discuss these topics in a single package. To learn more about the show, please visit thealimusashow.ca. While you're over there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. Besides, it's free. Enter your email address and hit subscribe.
The Ali Musa Show is part of the Musa Slobodian Network, where good conversations happen. To learn more about the network, please visit themusaslobodiannetwork.ca. While you're there, subscribe so you never miss a network update. Enter your email and hit subscribe.
Hi, Scott. It's Ali here. I just wanted to mention that I'm really enjoying the show and I'm really enjoying what you're putting together. And I wanted to just say I'm enjoying being a part of it as well. So please keep up the phenomenal work and make sure you guys keep this podcast going because it really suits you well.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
It continues on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Season 5, Episode 2, Sports for Beginners, Spring Training, UBC, and Spring Training thus far. Want to remind you that at 1:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 1:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It will be the matchup of the Detroit Tigers taking on the Toronto Blue Jays at 1:07 p.m. And at 1:05 p.m., it's the Toronto Blue Jays battling the Baltimore Orioles. But before we get back to Blue Jays, let's give you a look at the WBC Classic Pool games going on right now. Canada taking on Panama at 7 p.m. Eastern. The nightcap of the day for the WBC will be Brazil and Mexico. Brazil is 0-2. This is game number 3 of their WBC action. They have yet to get a win. Mexico has a win, but is looking for their second win, and they could get one if they can beat Brazil today at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. We shall see. Final score so far from the WBC. Japan stays undefeated. They are 3-0 coming out of this game. Beginning action right now, as they are in the warm-up actually. We have the Netherlands and the Dominican Republic about to begin play. Dominican is 1-0. The Netherlands have played in 2 games, and they have 1 win and 1 loss. If the Dominican Republic loses this game, the Netherlands will improve to 2-1. But if the Netherlands lose this game, Dominican will improve to 2-0 and stay undefeated. Cuba taking on Colombia coming up momentarily. They'll be going into the warm-up momentarily as they battle each other. Cuba at 1-0, they are undefeated. Colombia is 0-2. We'll see how those games go. Coming up also in the afternoon slate at 1 p.m., Great Britain and Italy go head-to-head. Italy is 1-0. Great Britain 0-2. Nicaragua is going against Israel today. First pitch just after 7 p.m. Just after 7 p.m. Same thing for Canada and Panama. Nicaragua is 0-2 at the World Baseball Classic. They have lost twice. Israel has only lost once. Panama has lost twice. Canada has 1 victory. Brazil, 2 losses on the day at the World Baseball Classic. Mexico at the Baseball Classic with 1 win. Those games at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Still some baseball action in the Major League to get you going, but we'll touch on that another time. Maybe we'll touch on it on a Monday recap. We'll see. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and touch on it just before we touch on a few players for the Blue Jays. I'll give you 5 Blue Jay players that have stood out, I should say, to me over the course of the spring. Before I do, let's run over the baseball schedule for spring training today. Blue Jays in split squad action against the Tigers and the Orioles. The Orioles face the Blue Jays at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. We have the Tigers taking on the Blue Jays at 1:07 p.m. Eastern. Elsewhere around the majors, Tigers and Blue Jays and Orioles and Blue Jays in action, 1:07 and 1:05 p.m. Eastern are the first pitch there. Also at 1:05, we have the Houston Astros taking on the Washington Nationals. The Pittsburgh Pirates will battle the Boston Red Sox. And the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Minnesota Twins. Both games at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. Also at 1:05 p.m., we've got the Atlanta Braves taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. At 1:10 p.m., we've got the St. Louis Cardinals going head-to-head with the Miami Marlins. And the New York Yankees and New York Mets will duke it out in a little New York battle. That should be a good one. Coming up later in the afternoon, more split squad action. We got the Reds taking on the Diamondbacks at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Who else are they taking on? Let's see. The San Diego Padres, that's at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Mariners and the Milwaukee Brewers battling each other at 4:10 p.m. as well. Rockies and the Guardians are duking it out at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Also at 4:05 p.m., we've got the Royals and White Sox. Angels taking on the Athletics at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. They are also taking on the Texas Rangers. And the Los Angeles Dodgers in action against the other squad of the Athletics. First pitch just after 4 p.m. Eastern at 4:05 p.m. And last but certainly not least in that slate, the Chicago Cubs take on the 12-2 San Francisco Giants. So lots of MLB baseball just getting underway as we get to the 1 p.m. slate. And World Baseball Classic has at least one game in the books. That's Japan remaining undefeated as they take down Australia 4-3. Just getting underway now, we've got Dominican and the Netherlands going head-to-head. And just about set to get underway, Cuba and Colombia, as it is 12:03 p.m. Eastern. They are just about set to get underway as we speak with you. Okay, folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, who stands out for the Blue Jays so far? Which 5 Blue Jays, for me, have stood out this season in the spring? Plus, where do the Blue Jays go from here after their split squad action this after where they are playing the Baltimore Orioles at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota. So one game is going down at Dunedin at TD Ballpark, the other Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota. Where do the Blue Jays go from there? Find out along with my 5 Blue Jays who have stood out so far this spring as Sports for Beginners Season 5, Episode 2, Sports for Beginners Spring Training, UBC, and Spring Training thus far rolls on. We've got Last Call coming up in just a little bit, as we are about 37 minutes into the show. When we return to the program, where the Blue Jays go after spring training's final split squad action today, top 5 Blue Jays who have impressed in spring, plus we'll give you a look at the UBC standings, where we sit as play continues in the WBC today. So be sure to stick with us, folks.
Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Hey Allie, did you know we have a books panel?
I did not know that. When is it?
It takes place on the last Friday of each month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern,
Where we have fun and engaging conversations.
about a book that one of the panelists picks.
So, how can I learn more about the show?
To learn more, please visit bookspanel.ca. While you're there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. Besides, it's free. Enter your email and hit subscribe.
The Books Pen is part of the Musa Slobodian Network, where good conversations happen.
To learn more about the network, please visit themusaslobodiannetwork.ca. While you're over there, hit subscribe so you never miss a network update. Enter your email and hit subscribe.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
It continues on Sports for Beginners Season 5, Episode 2, Sports for Beginners Spring Training, WBC, and Spring Training thus far. Top 5 Blue Jays coming up in just a few moments, as well as where the Blue Jays go from here. But as we enter into the 39-minute mark of our show, we are at the halfway point of the program, which means last call is coming up after this next short break, which will be a word from our friends over at Sienna T Radio, making your day brighter one song at a time. Before we jump there, let's go ahead and take a look. The WBC pool play standings. Here we go. In Pool A, the top 4 teams are Puerto Rico, Canada, Cuba, Panama, and Colombia. Pool B, USA, Italy, Mexico, Great Britain, and Brazil. In Pool C, Japan, Australia, Korea, Czechia, and Chinese Taipei, I should say. Hopefully I had that right. And in Pool D, we have Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua. Nicaragua is 0-2 at the bottom of the barrel right now in Pool D. Israel above them only lost 1 game, but they could lose another one. The Netherlands have a win and a loss. They are in spot number 3 in Pool D. Dominican Republic, 1 win and no losses. Venezuela is the undefeated team there at 2-0 in Pool D. That's in the Miami area. In Tokyo, where Pool C is slated, Japan are undefeated. They are the number one team in Pool C with 3 wins, no losses. Australia is number 2 with 2 wins, 1 loss. Chinese Taipei are 2-2 and sitting in the 3rd place spot in Pool C. Korea 1-2. They've lost 2 games and won 1 game as they sit 4th in Pool C's line Rhine. And at the bottom of the barrel at 0-3, we have Czechia with 3 losses and yet to have a win in Pool C. In Pool B, the pool that is playing in Houston, Great Britain is also 0-2. Mexico and Italy, a game behind the US. Both Italy and Mexico have 1 win under their belt. Great Britain and Brazil have 2 losses under their belt. USA with 2 wins. They are still unbeat in this World Baseball Classic for 2026. And Pool A from San Juan, Puerto Rico in the lead at Canada behind them with 1 win. Cuba also behind Puerto Rico with 1 win. Panama and Colombia with no wins and 2 losses each. And those are your pool standings, your pool play standings, pools A to D. In Pool D, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, the Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua. All right, we got another little technical here. Trying to keep it going as we roll on. We are almost at the end of the show here. We are 44 minutes in. So I'll run down quickly Pool C. And then we'll get right to our Blue Jays. 5 players who have stood out in spring training as we have reached the closing moments of our program. In Pool C, in case you have missed it, of course, Pool D is Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Israel, and Nicaragua. In Pool C, we have Japan, Australia, Korea, Czechia, and Chinese Taipei. Pool B, USA, Italy, Mexico, Great Britain, and Brazil. And Pool A, Puerto Rico, Canada, Cuba, Panama, and Colombia. All right, time now to find out which players have stood out. Well, to be honest, I'm really liking what I've seen from Cody Ponce. Kevin Gausman's had an interesting spring. I got to tell you right now, he's had an interesting spring. I really like what we've seen from Max Scherzer so far, but it's only March, and we haven't really seen Max in in-game action for a little while. Since November, rather. But I did like his spring debut, 4 innings, 4 scoreless innings. Not bad for Max Scherzer. If he can keep that up and be healthy, I think the Blue Jays have a really good chance at doing what they did last year. And maybe, just maybe, just for now, because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe, just maybe, they have a shot at winning the whole dang thing this year. But I definitely think if the Blue Jays can stay healthy this season, they will have a good shot at making the playoffs. Maybe winning the American League again. And I don't know about the World Series, but we'll see how it goes. So Kevin Gausman is definitely one person that has stood out. Another person that has stood out is Nathan Lukes. He has 1 home run on the spring and 6 RBIs, 1 stolen base. I also like what I'm seeing from Addison Barger, Bam Bam Barger as we call him. And Sean Keyes has been interesting. He's been interesting. I like what I'm seeing from Josh. I like what I'm seeing from him. I'm mentioning a few names that are playing in that Orioles game. Tigers game. And I did mention Cody Ponce. And he actually is playing with a lineup that has a guy that has really impressed me. Rafael Lantiga, I should say. I really like this guy. He doesn't have a home run yet, but the dude has 2 stolen bases and 2 RBIs. And how about that guy, Charles McAdoo? 4 RBIs, 1 stolen base, 1 home run. We got quite a competition here. So let's run down my top 5. I like Cody Ponce. I like Charles McAdoo. I think Kevin Gausman has been having an okay spring, in my opinion. He will slot in at number 4. I like Cody Ponce. He slots in at number 1. And he also slots in with Rafael Lantiga, Charles McAdoo. So let's see, I've listed now Ponce, Charles McAdoo, that's 2. Rafael Lantiga, that's 3. Kevin Gausman, that's 4. I also mentioned Max Scherzer, so those would be my 5 guys that have been having okay springs or having some good springs. I gotta say this before we go to break. I really like what I'm seeing from Arjun Namala. He has 3 RBIs on the spring so far. No stolen bases yet, but I really like what I'm seeing. And up until Ernie Clement went to the WBC, I really like what I'm seeing with Ernie this year. I really like it. Vladdy is having an interesting spring. He doesn't quite have... He has 2 at-bats against Wells, who is getting the ball for the Orioles, I should say. He has 2 at-bats, no hits yet, but that's okay. I mean, it is spring training. All right, folks. Last call on the other way. We'll reveal to you the starting lineups for Orioles, Blue Jays, and of course, Tigers, Blue Jays as well when we get to last call. Set you up for the upcoming show after this show ends. And what's in store on episode 3 of season 5, and who's next when we throw the first pitch on the next episode of Sports for Beginners Spring Training. Stick with us, because that's all coming up on Last Call, which comes your way in 30 seconds. Right after this, from the good folks at Sienna T Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Today, the Blue Jays go head to toe with the Baltimore Orioles, but they also go head to head with the Detroit Tigers. Welcome back into episode 2 of season 5 of the podcast, Sports for Beginners. Before we touch on coming up on the program, the matchup at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, starting off with the visiting Toronto Blue Jays starting lineup. Of course, both lineups for Blue Jays are managed by John Schneider. But of course, it's a split squad, so we don't know who's managing what. But I'll just get the lineup out of the way. The starting pitcher for the Blue Jays, by the way, in this game is Cody Ponce. And here's how the Blue Jays will line up against the Baltimore Orioles. Miles Straw will lead things off and play center field. Uses Sanchez in left field will bat second. Toronto's designated hitter for the Orioles game will be Eloy Jimenez. He will bat third. The catcher will be Brandon Valenzuela. He will bat fourth in the cleanup spot. In right field, batting fifth, we have, for the Blue Jays, we have this man batting in Piango. I got that right. Making sure I get the first name right. Yohendrick Piango is going to play right field today and bat fifth against the Orioles. Charles McAdoo playing third base, batting sixth. Rafael Lantiga batting seventh, playing second base. Arjun Namala bats eighth, playing shortstop. And at first base, batting ninth for the Blue Jays in this matchup, Riley Tirada will bat ninth and play first base. They'll go up against pitcher Trevor Wells. I believe that's the name. Tyler Wells, is the pitcher for the Orioles. And let's take a look at the hometown Orioles starters. In center field, Colton Cowser. Left field will be Taylor Ward, I believe. Yep, Taylor Ward. Pete Alonso at first base for the Orioles. Their catcher, who will bat fourth as well, is none other than this man, Samuel Basallo. He will get the catching duties here. Ryan Mountcastle in at DH, batting fifth. Batting sixth and playing right field for the Orioles in this one, we will have Dylan Beavers, who will bat sixth and play right field. Third baseman For the Orioles batting 7th, that is this man. Getting the name up here as we can. Brian Ramos. William Wilson. I got that right? Weston Wilson, excuse me, will bat 8th and play second base. And the shortstop batting 9th is this man, Jose Barro. Barro. Hopefully I got that right. And folks, we don't really have time for the Tigers starting lineup, but a reminder that that game will feature the pitching matchup of Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays versus, for the Tigers, he will take on Brian Salmons. But that is about almost it for our show. So quickly here on our program, here's what to expect for the Toronto Blue Jays down the stretch as they wrap up spring training. We've got the Atlanta Braves, the New York Yankees, Philadelphia Phillies, Minnesota Twins, Detroit Tigers one more time, the New York Mets, Miami Marlins, Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees one more time, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay coming down the stretch. We are an hour, 1 minute into our program, so that we've brought up the upcoming spring schedule for the Blue Jays. Want to take this opportunity to let you know that on the next episode of Sports for Beginners Spring Training, we will bring you on Monday, March 16th, 2026. That's next Monday. We will bring you our final installment, as far as the Blue Jays are concerned, of Sports for Beginners Spring Training, breaking down the game between the Miami Marlins and the Toronto Blue Jays, getting you set for the stretch run leading to opening day, March 27, 2026. A regularly advised program there. On the next episode of Sports for Beginners, it's hockey night on Sports for Beginners. And it's hockey night from Vegas. Join us after the Night Owl game between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Pittsburgh Penguins on Season 5, Episode 3 for a recap of just the fourth game, I should say. Evgeny Malkin is going to miss in his 5-game suspension. He is eligible to return for Game 1 of 2 between the Colorado Avalanche and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it is likely we will see Sid back on March 18th. But could he return? Could he return as early as today's game? Or will he return at the start of the road trip when the Penguins head to Carolina for the first time this regular season? They have had victories against Carolina of 5-1 at home. And they will play Carolina 3 times this week. 3 times this month, I should say. one in cooperation with a 3-game homestand, and one in cooperation with the upcoming 5-game road trip that will start in Raleigh, North Carolina, and end in Raleigh, North Carolina, but have trips in between to Vegas, Utah, and Colorado. We'll break down the game from Vegas on the next episode of Sports for Beginners Season 5. Penguins, Golden Knights. Looking forward to seeing you then. 2 post-game shows before that episode, however, including the next edition of Penguins postgame. Penguins and the Bruins today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us on Monday. This Monday, Penguins. Will the Bruins win the season series 2-1? Or will they sweep the Penguins? We'll find out the answer by the end of the day today. They're on a 5-game road trip starting Tuesday. And we'll break down the Boston game on Monday. Wednesday, we're breaking down the game between the Hurricanes and the Penguins, of which they will be without Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby, who they have been without since the Olympic break, post-Olympic break began. Since then, they have beaten the Devils 4-1, lost in a shootout to the Rangers 3-2, lost in a shootout to Philadelphia 4-3 as of yesterday, lost 5-1 to the Buffalo Sabres, 2-1 to the team they play today, the Boston Bruins, and shut out the Vegas Golden Knights in matchup number 1 of 2, 5-0. That is it, though, for our show. Looking forward to the Bruins game today. Maybe we'll be back with you right after the game, but we'll wait and see. But that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for our show. Thank you so much for being with us. Looking forward to that Bruins game today. Hopefully the Penguins can get a win. Maybe the kids will show up. Radio. So happy belated birthday to the late Hall of Famer Mike Lang. Pens and Bruins today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to that. That's it for Sports for Beginners Season 5 for today. On the next episode, Penguins Golden Knights take center stage on Sports for Beginners Season 5, Episode 3. Looking forward to that one for you. But that's coming up on a different edition of Penguins Postgame on our next episode of Season 5. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. Enjoy the WBC. Enjoy the rest of spring training, because before you know it, opening day will be here. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again after Penguins and Golden Knights. But I will talk to you, Penguins fans, on Monday. Bruins versus Penguins. Puck drops just after 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we also have the Hurricanes coming up on the schedule for the Penguins post-game show. So folks, make sure you're with us when we have that. Catch you on the flip side, boy. Sports fans. I'm out. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.